Okay, Rod, so you take on Oxford City this weekend. What sort of test are you expecting from them?
Tough as usual. I just done an interview with BBC Essex and they asked me pretty much the same question. And they're probably one of the teams that we sort of struggle against a little bit, especially away from home. But I do believe that obviously at home is a slightly different proposition. I think they know their pitch very well up there and they play it well. But yeah, we know it'd be tough. I don't suppose they're going to come out and sort of try and play us off the park, but I think they'll come out and try and pick us off when they can. And we have to be aware of that. So as much as we want to sort of try and, see if we can press on and get goals and create chances in the last third, we have to be mindful that they've got plenty of pace and they can counter-attack on us as well, so we will need to be mindful of that, which we'll work on tonight. But yeah, I like the way they play. I think they're quite a young side. They're well organised, they're well drilled, and they've had another good season, to be honest. I won't think they're one of the biggest spenders in the division. They do seem to find some good players there. I've got a centre forward at the minute that's scoring goals. So I think it'll be another tough test, and it'll be down to us really. Our application on the game is how well we set our stall out, how quick we get our tempo up, and how quick we can put them on the back foot. I think that's what we'll be looking to achieve, which we always do when we're at home. We want to use that home advantage if we can. So, I'm looking forward to the game, but people think it's one that you should go and win, and I know they've been through a little bit of a tough time at the minute. I don't think their results have been great, and then they go and beat Dulwich Hamlet 4-1. So, which in my opinion, Dulwich Hamlet are a very good side in this league. So, just shows you, if you think any of these games will be easy, then you get beat 4-1, and we've got to be mindful that their confidence is now back up, and they're going to come here and try and see if they can get another result.
You just said earlier that Oxford are a team that we don't really do well against. You said that last week again that we played against Truro if we won 3-0. Do you think they're quite similar in the way they play, or do you think there's differences between?
I think where they're similar, to be honest, I think they're quite young. I think they've got sort of players that have got good ability. But yes, they're probably where they're a little bit inconsistent in this division is probably maybe having that experience as well. But I think if their youth can overcome the experience on the day, then you've got your hands full, and that's why I believe at their place, I do think that pitch really has worked for them. They train on it, they know what it's about. And most, I think if you looked at their home record's probably very good, I would have thought. A lot of teams go up there and struggle. So, to me, I think like Truro, you have to beat their enthusiasm. And obviously their fitness levels will be very good, and we have to make sure that the senior players stand up on the day and show that experience. So for me, I think they're young and hungry, and I always think young and hungry teams can always be a major problem. Over the consistency of the season, you probably find that might sort of differ. They might sort of be inconsistent, but that's what young and hungry players will bring. But on the day, then players are good enough to beat anybody, and that's where we have to be mindful that if we're not at the races and we leave ourselves exposed, these type of teams can hurt you. Even like last week at Truro, a very good win last week, but they at 1-0 they still had opportunities to try and get themselves back in the game. So, which you expect. Any game of football, you do expect the opposition to have opportunities to score goals, but we've got to be mindful that these are a good side. I mean, I took us when we was up there in the league this year. We got a good result, and then we went back up there in the trophy, and then we got beat. So it just shows you what a Jekyll and Hyde place that can be. So for me, if we really want to stay in this title race and this playoff place, we've got to make sure that we win on Saturday, because we then got the third attempt to travel to Torquay, which you may go over on that in a minute, and we've got some very tough games coming up. I think we've still got to play, 4 teams that are all in that sort of playoff areas. So yeah, there's some big games in front of us.
And we had another friendly game away at Coggleshaw. Not quite the result that we would have hoped for, but did any players stand out for you and say, I want to start on Saturday?
I'll be honest, it's just an exercise. These friendlies I've never, for us not having our reserves and whatever, it doesn't these friendlies don't really mean anything as far as do players get minutes out of it and can we stay injury free. We didn't stay injury free. We got 2 or 3 knocks on the night, so I'll assess them tonight. I also look at, yes, did it give a lot of players 90 minutes? Yes, which is good. And there was 1 or 2 performances in there that I felt was decent, which we know. Players playing against the team that we played against, but however the result was a 3-0 defeat. But when you look at the game, I was at the game, to be fair, they had probably 3 chances and scored, and we seemed to do everything we could and didn't score. So, even missing a penalty within that. So, no, listen, I'm not worried about results in friendlies. I'm more worried about do we get minutes and do we stay injury free, and that's what we had on Tuesday. But we have picked up 1 or 2 little minor knocks. So, but as I say, the rest of the team was here training. And the team that I took up there obviously was given a chance to show me where they are at the minute.
You mentioned Torquay as well. I know you want to take every game by game, and see how we go. But knowing that Torquay is around the corner, it's the 3rd attempt. But does that play in the back of your mind that we do have arguably one of the biggest games of the season after Oxford? No, not really. Listen, at the end of the day, you could sort of set your mind on Oxford game on Tuesday, and then not concentrate on the Saturday game, and you could end up coming unstuck with that. So we need to make sure we get the points on Tuesday, and then obviously go down there on Saturday, and then go down there on Tuesday and have the same sort of mindset really. I'd like to think that my boys are going to be up for Tuesday night, because I think on both occasions there we should have been dealt a little bit fairly on us travelling down there on that midweek one, especially in this modern day with technology and FaceTime and everything else. People couldn't even get to the officials to show them that the pitch was basically sort of swimming ducks on there at the time. So for me it was disappointing, and I will remind the players of that, because as I say, but for them, to be fair, I think it's worked for Torquay. Probably when we was meant to play them, obviously wasn't maybe a good time, and since then they've gone on and picked up some good wins. So now I think they can afford to even lose against us as such and still sort of be slightly in the driving seat, although they're going to want to try and beat us, because it's still a big game for the likes of Woking, more so than ourselves. But at the time of us playing them beforehand, then I think it would have been massive for us if we had got the result. It would have put us back in the title race, really, for sure. So, yeah, listen, we can't predict what happened on that occasion, other than I think where people should have used common sense didn't use common sense, and that's quite annoying, really, after we've had to do all that journey and then come back again. And on the first time we was meant to play them, obviously we was all sort of ready for the coach, and then when it gets called off then. So we've had 2 howlers really, but we'll move on with that. But my players have put everything into Saturday, and we've got a big enough squad here that we go down to Torquay, and we go down there and fancy our chances, because as I've always said, I don't fear anybody in this division, and but I do think we have to play well on the night down there to get the points. And we know it's the it's the 3rd attempt of us trying to play them, and we know some fans might be cautious about wanting to go. But do you have a message for any fans that are on the fence about whether they want to travel or make that journey again? I feel for them, and I probably feel for them probably more than anybody else, because the first one, a lot of people stayed down there, which is an unforeseen situation, and then the second one, we've took another coach load down there, and it's so, all I can say to them is, listen, we will need you, we will want you to make the journey if you can. I do understand that it's been a bit of a nightmare that, you've had 2 games called off where you've travelled on both of them. Fortunately for us, we've only travelled on 1. But listen, it could be 3rd time's lucky, and the boys will need your support, and I should imagine it's going to be a decent game. But if you can get there, then fantastic. If you can't, we fully understand, and the boys will go and do everything we can to try and bring the points back home.